One of those little technical difficulties where I was trying to log in and my internet was being cuckoo. So I'll give you a second to hop on. We're going to talk about auras. I love this subject. I've been busy. If you follow me frequently, you'll tell that you can tell that my 8-foot hutch back there looks a little bit different as I've moved some stuff around. I had to get my airplanes added to my display. Let me get to my chat bar. So I'm going to give you a second to just jump on. I love it if you tell me where you're from. So cool to see where everybody is hopping on from. So happy Monday. This is my Monday Soul Deliciousness. If you've never joined before and you're like, what the heck is this? My name is Amy Jorgensen, and my purpose and passion in life is helping people to get their smile back. So I love sharing my life, true and genuine as I can, to help you overcome things that you're dealing with, because I find that too many of us hide in the shadows because we are so afraid to talk about what we really have going on. Hello, Rose. Welcome from Australia. See how cool that is? And it's Tuesday for her. I actually went to Australia once. I flew a military sortie there, is what we call it. It was really cool. I didn't get to stay there very long though, only overnight. So it was kind of a short-lived little vacation, but it was super cool. I remember the jellyfish. The jellyfish were out, and so you couldn't walk on the beach because there were signs everywhere that if you walked on the beach, the jellyfish would get you. So it was pretty cool though. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about auras. What the heck are they and why do they matter? So first of all, um, I love to always tell people, like, don't get wrapped up in details, because your reality is your reality and your reality alone. So it doesn't matter so much like exactly what you think as far as the definition of an aura goes. So basically, we're talking about this amazing energy field that is outside of your body. Some people can see them. You can definitely feel them if you allow yourself to. This is also why you feel really comfortable around some people and not comfortable around other people. When you walk into a room, before you ever even open your mouth, before you make eye contact with anyone, this energy that you have is communicating with people before you even do. If you're just like, whatever, I'm going to tell you something. I came from a really traditional structured church background as far as like what I was taught. This is not something that was part of my upbringing. I have a really traditional background, going to college, getting a bachelor's and a master's degree. So I'm very data driven. 5 years ago, when you would have talked to me about this, I would have been like, yeah, it sounds whatever you want to believe. And then I really dove into it. After my daughter passed away, I really got into this kind of stuff. And I'm telling you, be skeptical if you want, but if you really want to have some life-changing, amazing things happen for you, allow yourself to realize that you are an energetic spiritual being and you are having a momentary little visitation in your physical body. And if you really want your physical body to perform the way that you would love it to, as far as your health, as far as everything else goes, you can't just focus on it. You can go to the gym all day long. You can eat healthy all day long. But if you neglect your internal engine, your spiritual part of your body, it's only going to go so far. Okay. So it takes balance, but focusing on yourself as an energy field. So I'm going to tell you about auras and why they can be really important to getting yourself into a good balanced place. Because a lot of times I meet with clients and they're like, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm eating right. I'm exercising every day. I'm getting enough sleep. I'm doing this, that, and the other, but I just don't feel good still. And that's probably because you have some underlying issues, some underlying energies that are trapped in your aura field or trapped within your meridians, within your chakras. These are all systems of our bodies that parallel our physical, the physical part of our body. And so when we have things get trapped, it's just like having a blood clot. You can think of it as maybe you went through like a trauma And, sometimes you wake up at night and you're having an anxiety attack from it. It's just because it's a chemical reaction that your body has. Totally proven scientifically, emotions are chemicals. And so when you go through something and you do not process that out correctly or fully, then it hangs out in your body and causes you all kinds of problems. And it can be located in different places. You can go through lots of trauma, lots of depression, anxiety, whatever the emotion is. And it can actually make it so your knee will start to hurt because that's just a weak spot in your body and that's where it's hanging out. And then to top it off, when that starts happening, then we make ourselves susceptible to now not being in a homeostasis, which is where our body wants to be. So we have places in our body that go really alkaline, places in our body that go really acidic. We get really out of whack and then we open ourselves up for pathogens. So that's how we start getting viruses and bacteria and all sorts of stuff that start to wear us away. And so when it comes down to it, when we can stay totally balanced spiritually, physically, we're healthy. We don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about how our auras play into this. So once again, you can read that lots of stuff about this. You're going to see people that say that there are different layers and they have different names and they have certain things associated with them, and that's all good, in different colors. But I like to keep things simple. If you've ever taken any of my courses in the Soul Centered Academy, you'll know that I like to keep things understandable and simple. So we're just going to talk about the fact that it's there. Okay. So you may be able to see people's auras. You can feel them if you allow yourself to notice that you are. So once again, we're not going to get caught up in the details, but just keep an open mind too, that, because this was a hard thing for me to grasp. When you have somebody say, oh, I can see an aura and this is what it looks like. And then you have another person say, well, I can see it and this is what it looks like. And it's not the same. Remember, we create our own reality based off of our experiences. So if I see something different than you, it doesn't mean that I'm right and you're wrong or vice versa. It just means that that's how it comes to me, and things do not have to be the same for everyone. All right. So if I'm going to talk to you about this, of course, how I see it, and you can interpret that however you would like for it to make sense to you. So I see auras as multiple layers. Okay. And each layer is a little bit of a higher level conscious, or the aura layer that's closest to your body for me is really associated with your physical body. And these auras are fluid. So they're moving constantly. They're expanding out 3 feet from your body and a little bit further. It kind of depends on for everybody. People that in your human design also will tell you what parts of your body spiritual DNA is the easiest way to explain it. Some of us, our auras are more in tune to connecting with other people, and that's how we affect other people's energy. So when you're around someone and you're just like, man, this person is just like, I just feel it, right? I feed off of them. I feed off of their energy. It feels good to be around them. They set the tone for the room, or goes opposite, right? A person that's just like really weighing everyone down and you're like, ooh, this feels horrible to be in a room with them. It's the same thing. So your aura can dissipate into other people's auras or communicate or basically come into contact. So some people's is a lot more capable of doing that or affecting other people. So you can kind of think of it as, if you want to think of it as like, a substance, because that's kind of how your brain works to be able to think of it. It's just think of it. Some people's, are more like oil and water and they don't really come together. Well, other people's, like if you were around someone that's a perfect energy match for you, right? That's that person that you feel that chemistry with, that you feel really comfortable with, your little soulmate, so to speak. Your auras mesh together really well. Like there is no conflicting energy and you just kind of, come together. Hello, Lisa. And so, why is this important? Why is it important to understand your auras? Because emotions can get stuck in your aura. How does that work? So let's say that I go through an experience and I get really scared, and I'm doing my best to breathe through it. I'm taking a moment, right? There's nothing to be afraid of. And let's say that I start to process out this emotion of scared because I wanted to leave, right? Hello, Amber. You all know what it feels like when you have an emotion leave, right? Maybe you have a good cry. You know, when you're really stressed out and then you have a really good cry and afterwards you just feel good. You're like, ooh, you know, that's all I needed. So let's say, because crying, sneezing, yawning, those are all really great ways that our body releases emotions or energy. So let's say that you are really scared. Someone scared you and you know, you're working through this, like you're trying to catch your breath, and then you see something. Like as you're getting rid of the being scared and you're trying to come back to what I call center, right? Where you feel balanced again, something else happens. So you were scared, you're trying to take a deep breath and process that, and then you see something that's just like blows your mind. It's horrifying, it's traumatizing. So as the emotion of scared is trying to clear because you're taking a deep breath and you're allowing your body to release it, you see something traumatizing. So I want you to imagine, if you will, the scared emotion, right? And think of it however you like. I like to think about sending emotions out through my feet because that's what flows for me as far as imagining it. But that's the cool thing about this work. You imagine it however it feels for you. Some people like to think about, oh, I'm sending energies out through my hands. I'm sending energies out through my breath. It doesn't matter. It's however it feels right for you. Okay. So let's say that I'm trying to send the scared away and now I see something. So as this emotion is literally leaving my energy field, boom, I have another shutdown because I witnessed something crazy. And now I don't know it, but my little scared energy is hanging out in my aura because it didn't quite dissipate all the way out. And so it can get stuck there. So what happens when we have emotions that get stuck in our aura is it makes us feel really off-centered. It makes us feel really out of balance. It can make us just like anything else as far as a physical issue because it does correlate to becoming a physical issue if it doesn't release. And so you can have pain, you can start having symptoms of an illness. That's basically all an illness is different symptoms that a doctor diagnoses you with because they follows a list, right? But really when it comes down to it, if you have a health issue, it's all related to something emotional from some point or time. It can even be ancestral. So other things that get stuck in aura fields, cords with people. Have you ever had a relationship with someone and you're just like, why can I not forget about this person? Like, I just want to be done with it. Sometimes we get cords and we do our best to try to forget about this person. We're like, I've worked through it. They're not part of my life anymore, but you just can't get rid of them. I imagine it as like there's a little hook in your aura field that's just kind of tugging on you every time you want to forget about them. It just pulls on you a little bit, right? And it's because you have this little bit of an energy connection in your aura field still that you haven't fully released. Like you're really close, but every once in a while something happens and just pulls you back to that person. Ancestral energy can be trapped in our auras. So your ancestors can be passing on traumas, they can be passing on emotions, they can be passing on all kinds of stuff. So things can be trapped in your auras from your ancestors as well. And then trauma. So you have a physical trauma, an emotional trauma, a mixed trauma that's got some physical and emotional, is what I have seen with my clients when traumas can actually tear an aura. So they make a little teeny tiny tear, a little teeny tiny rip in a person's aura. And then you can view it as whatever makes sense for you. But I like to think of it as it's kind of like a little way for your positive energies kind of like leaking away. So your beautiful energy that you have is sort of dissipating. And so it can make you feel, once again, fatigued, worn out, spiritually ungrounded, just kind of all over the place. So this is why we work on ourselves. If you're like, wow, that sounds really cool. How do I fix this? How do I get things out of my aura field? You can do things for yourself like meditation. You can do little exercises. Like if you go into my YouTube channel, you can see some, but simply doing one that's very easy. I like to think of it as the melting principle. So basically, you're going to feel your feet into the ground. You're going to take a deep breath in through your nose and you're going to let it out through your mouth. And then you're going to do what we call the C curve, which is what we do in Pilates, where you just like round your shoulders and let yourself melt and relax. And this gets your body centered and you breathe. And I just want you to feel all the feels. So feel whatever you're feeling and just breathe it away. That's a really great exercise for doing that. And don't force it. Just relax. If you catch yourself humming or making weird noises, it's totally fine because that's part of getting rid of stuff. Just take a deep breath in through your nose and let yourself melt and breathe it away. That's an easy way for you to do it. Okay. Meditation, doing things that ground you. So those are going to be things like going outside, walking around in the grass without shoes on is a perfect way to ground yourself. I love water. So showering every morning, I have to, no matter what. That is a non-negotiable item for me because it grounds me to my day. Things like that, whatever you know for you works really, really well. I love campfires. That's a great way for me to ground myself too. And then, of course, you can do energy work. So, I do sessions with people to help them release things from their aura fields or all kinds of stuff. But those are some things that you can do for yourself as well. Now, when your aura is balanced, it's a win-win because when your aura is strong, you're balanced. You're going to then be able to balance yourself physically. So lots of times we try to start the other way, right? We start going to the gym, we start eating healthy. Super cool. But if you do not get your energy source balanced, you're going to do all that stuff and you're still not going to feel 100% because that's just not the way that it works. So I always say start with the inside and then work your way out. So you can do both at the same time, but make sure you're focusing a lot on your inner energy so you can achieve the ultimate balance. So what's the cool thing about having ultimate balance? When you are fully balanced, which means, okay, there's some important things here. You know what your passion is, you know what your purpose is, and you love who you are. Okay, those are 3 really important things. Now, how many of you how many of you have one of those? You know what your purpose is, you know what your passion is, and you love who you are. Okay, I'm going to guarantee that more than 75% of you maybe don't even have one of those because right? Okay, good. 2. That's awesome, Amber. I would say you're well above. A lot of people really aren't sure. They're not sure what their purpose is, or they've been told their purpose because it's been drilled into them as far as spiritual beliefs go with church. But do you really know your purpose, or are you just going off of what you've been taught? Right? There's a difference there. You truly know your purpose and your passion. Your purpose is why you're here, okay? But your passion, because some people are like, what's the difference between a purpose and a passion? So your purpose is your why, okay? Your passion is how you fill your cup. Because when your cup is full, your cup runs over. And then what happens? You can fill other people's cups, right? But if your cup isn't full, don't be trying to pour it into other people's cups because you can't. You want to have an overflowing cup. I want you to imagine yourself as your cup is flowing so full that you can just put thousands of other cups underneath you and you're just constantly filling other people's cups. That's the ultimate, thing that you want to get to, but you got to have a purpose. You have to know your purpose. You need to know your passion so that you can fill your cup, and ultimately you have to love who you are. Because if you don't, you really can't be fulfilling your purpose and you really can't be fulfilling your passion if you do not like yourself. Those are some hard things to get to. Not impossible, mind you, but it takes some work. It definitely takes some work. Okay. So you get to that space by clearing away past conditioning because you've been taught all your life that you're someone that you're not. So you hear me talk about it. I'm a huge advocate for human design. It is my favorite, I think it's the most amazing way to really get in tune with yourself. Sometimes people talk about personality tests and I'm like, you have no idea. Personality test is nothing compared to human design. Human design is your personality, your spiritual part of you, it's like all the things that I talked about, right? It's your physical, it's your inner emotional, it's your personality blueprint to a T, down to details. And I have people tell me all the time that do their human design, they're like, wow, this is really crazy, right? Because it's that in depth, that detailed. So when you learn who you are. You can pull away all the past conditioning. When someone tells you, oh, you do that and it's, not good that you do that. It's actually probably fine that you do that. It's part of who you are. So you embrace who you are and you stop trying to shove yourself into this cookie cutter box, being what everybody thinks that you should be. Because guess what? When you do that, you are completely miserable. You will meet resistance. You will have frustration and you will just be angry. Or you can accept the fact that, let me give you an example from my own human design. I am a person who loves to be alone. So what do you think I was taught all my life? You need to get out there and make some friends. You need to get out there and mingle. You need to get out there and go to this. You need to go you need to go do this. You need to go do that. So when I learned that about myself is that I'm just naturally inclined to be really okay with being with myself. What do you think happened? I started embracing it and I was like, ooh, this is okay that I love this. I don't need to listen to anyone else. I don't need to go to the movies with people. I don't need to. If I want to, there are times when I'm like, okay, my energy is aligned with going out with people. But for the most part, I'm just totally content being in my house and organizing my closet. Honestly, it makes me happy. Now, before I would have been like, oh, I beat myself up over that. Something's wrong with me. Why don't I want to get out? I must be blah, blah, blah. No, that's past conditioning of people telling me that something is wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with me. It's one of my gates. And I know that about myself now. So understanding that allows me to love who I am because I'm not fighting it. Not trying to be something I'm not, right? If I am really opinionated, instead of being like, wow, you need to stop talking so much. You need to stop being so opinionated. No, I align with myself. I know that that's who I am. And so instead of fighting it, I'm just really aware of it. So perhaps I can modify what I say to be a little bit more in alignment, but I don't fight with myself about that being a bad thing about who I am. And you really learn to really love yourself. So clearing away past conditioning allows you to find your purpose, allows you to find your passion, allows you to love yourself. And when you do that, I'm telling you what, when people are always like, Amy, you glow. Amy, you're sparkling. Amy, your energy is contagious. That's it. That's the key right there. Key to it. It's pretty simple once you start working on it. Takes some time, but it's pretty simple. All right, you guys, there you go. Happy Monday, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night.